Sometimes, for all the wrong reasons, bad fights are as enthralling as good fights.
You talk about throwing a punch from Australia, he's throwing his from some other planet I don't know.
However, other times, bad fights offer no replay value whatsoever and should only be viewed again in a video like this.
And that was embarrassing. They should hold up that man's purse. That was one of the worst displays of a fight I've ever seen.
Today on SMB Boxing, we will present to you a collection of fights that were either bad but entertaining or spectacles that, for various reasons, made the viewers feel like the real losers. In September of 2022, Wata traveled over 4,000 miles from France to Canada to fight Keane. However, at the sound of the opening bell, Wata did this.
6.5. Whoa. I frankly don't have an explanation for this.
No, he went down to one knee before even taking a punch, and the fight's over.
The sequence was reminiscent of Curtis Harper's walkout at the start of a 2018 fight against F.A. Ajagba, and Keane, who did actually land a soft jab, was awarded a first-round TKO victory.
Simon, the Grizzly Keane.
After the decision on the fight was made, Keane issued an apology to the fans who had paid to see him compete. Wata later explained via social media that he took a knee and raised a hand as a protest for being refused insurance by his local boxing commission, the French Boxing Federation, and the full amount of his fight purse is believed to have been permanently withheld.
Hopefully we'll get some kind of explanation from Wata, who, all week long was talking about the fight as if he was going to be an active participant.
From one soft finish to another. It's fair to say that most boxing prospects don't face too many live opponents in their first year as a pro, and this was hilariously demonstrated when up-and-coming Cuban heavyweight Jorge Luis Gonzalez met American Big Ben Smith in his first year as a prize fighter in 1991.
I want you to obey my commands at all times. When I tell you to break, you break cleanly. Understand? Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands and come out boxing at the bell.
Just moments into the first round, Gonzalez made Big Ben call time on his night in the ring after he landed a right hand that mostly hit the American's shoulder and then bundled him through the ropes and onto the ring apron.
All right, this is round one. Gonzalez, the taller of the two fighters. He wears the red trunks with the black trim. Big Ben Smith in the black trunks with the white stripe. And he comes out fighting like a wild man, and he rolls into the cheap seats. He's hanging on for dear life already, and he hasn't even been hit, Chuck. Not a good sign.
He's having a rather impromptu meeting with the commission. I wonder what they're telling him.
Well, they're looking over his license right now and wiping the sweat off his pants.
That's it.
Let's see. Don't tell me he's claiming to be hurt. He's going to wave it off. Oh. I don't think the fans are going to be too happy with this performance. And the Boxing Commission, which now has an indelible impression of Big Ben Smith all over their trousers, may not forget what he's done in the ring here tonight in Florida. Here's another look at it. We'll see if we can find something for you. Looks like Ben Smith needs a seeing-eye dog there as he comes in.
Now, all right, he corrals him around the neck and throws him through the ring. I mean, Big Ben didn't even get clocked.
Well, he struck out here. Big Ben Smith seems very pleased to pick up a paycheck. Not a knockdown, Brian Gary is telling us. He was thrown out of the ring, and he simply quit. Something not quite right with Big Ben Smith tonight. Perhaps the sight of Jorge Gonzalez enough to shake him up.
Although the commentators humorously summed up the fight, the ring announcer Mark Bureau deserves a mention for this troll moment.
The time, a John Unitas, 19 seconds of the first round. The winner by technical knockout, Jorge Gonzalez.
And there's your winner, Jorge Gonzalez. See, with an apologetic look for his fans here tonight. Even Mark Bureau getting in on the jokes.
In 1996 and 1997, the heavyweight division went through a dark period of high-profile fights, ending with controversy and disqualification.
Good luck, 12 rounds.
Firstly and secondly, Andrew Golota was DQ'd in both of his fights against Riddick Bowe in 1996 because he couldn't stop himself from hitting Bowe's nether regions. The first DQ also triggered an infamous full-blown riot at Madison Square Garden.
This ring has been stormed by thugs and hooligans.
Thirdly, Oliver McCall suffered a nervous breakdown during a rematch against Lennox Lewis in February of 1997 and lost his WBC title when the bout was stopped in the 5th round.
Something's not right.
That's it. That is it. The fight is over.
And fourthly, in a highly anticipated rematch in June of 1997, Mike Tyson was disqualified for biting Evander Holyfield's ears and then banned from boxing for 15 months.
Mike Tyson resorting to biting tactics, and he still wants more as he's being held back by Richie Giacchetti.
After Tyson's ear biting, boxing needed a lift, and the chance to restore some credit to the sport came around quickly, as Lennox Lewis had agreed to begin his second reign as the WBC champion with a title defense against Henry Akinwande in July of 1997.
Just how big a threat is Akinwande to Lewis?
Well, he might hug him to death, but he really is a threat.
At the very least, the all-British heavyweight clash just needed to be a decent spectacle without any controversy. However, as hinted at by Larry Merchant during the pre-fight broadcast, Akinwande appeared to suffer from stage fright and held Lewis as soon as he got into range, which prompted referee Mills Lane to issue a warning to the challenger in just the first 30 seconds of the contest.
They favor Lewis and his harder punching if he can be aggressive, and he's come out aggressively, initiating the exchanges with Akinwande in the first 30 seconds of the fight, and Mills Lane already with a conference about holding.
Unfortunately for everyone watching, Akinwande's holding only got worse, which led to Lane deducting a point off him in the second round and calling for a timeout so he could further attempt to shake the challenger up by bringing him over to his trainer, Don Turner.
Don, you tell him, you need to fight, or I'm going to chase you. And you can do better than that, you understand? Come on. Let's go. Come on.
This is the way it's going to have to be in boxing. The referee's going to have to step up these days.
In the third and fourth round, Akinwande not only continued to hold Lewis at every opportunity, he also didn't let go of the champion on multiple occasions when he was instructed to do so by Lane.
And the crowd begins to express its displeasure. Lewis tries a wild roundhouse right. Akinwande wraps him up. It ain't going to be pretty.
Ain't going to be pretty, and we're going to have a referee who's very tired.
Lewis still doing an effective job of ducking and slipping. But that time he doesn't get a punch off before Akinwande leans all over it. Akinwande killing 8, 10, 12 seconds at a time, just leaning all over Lewis.
This looks like a mating dance between two boa constrictors.
Solid punch there. Round 4 comes to a close. The crowd hopes for something better.
After more holding in the 5th round by Akinwande, Lane brought him over for the second time in the fight to his trainer, Don Turner, and issued a final warning.
For another 2-3 rounds, he's out of here.
Mills Lane is in an embarrassing situation.
Yeah,
he just had a big controversy disqualification in the state. He just don't want to do that quick.
Look, he looks like an Oreo cookie there, mixed in between those two big guys. Oh, Mills Lane is earning his money these days. Time.
Second time that Lane has called Don Turner up.
You tell him next time he's gone, okay? You tell him.
Hey, Henry, he's getting ready to disqualify you.
You need to fight.
Don't let him disqualify you. He's about to drop dead, man. All you got to do is fight him. Fight him back. Get out there and fight.
Despite being given a final ultimatum by Lane, Akinwande clearly didn't want to engage in a fight. And when he held Lewis for over 20 seconds in the final minute of the round, Lane's patience finally ran out and he disqualified the challenger.
Well,
so he is utterly confused.
366 days ago, July 11, 1996, Golota disqualified while pounding Riddick Bowe in Madison Square Garden. 4 months later, Atlantic City Convention Center, Golota.
It's the end of the fight. We've had another disqualification.
Yep. There you go. That's the 4th major disqualification in the heavyweight division in 366 days. It was inevitable. There was nothing else Lane could do.
And I want to say, give a gold crown to Mills Lane. He was in an almost impossible situation after 2 weeks ago to have to do this, and he had the guts to do what was right.
Because of his poor performance, the Nevada Athletic Commission initially withheld Akinwande's $1 million purse and could have took the full amount rather than just a percentage of it due to a law that was passed after the Tyson-Holyfield rematch.
The Nevada State Athletic Commission, as of a brand new piece of legislation in the past few days, would have the power, if they want to withhold Henry Akinwande's entire purse. Should they do it?
Not at all. This guy did not know how to protect himself. The only way he knew how to keep this guy off of him was to hold.
Ultimately, the commission came to the conclusion that Akinwande had been punished enough by his DQ loss and allowed him to keep the full amount of his purse.
I didn't think most of the holding is my fault, because we both tried to go forward, and I mean, he's tall and I'm tall, you know, so there's no, I mean, I can find a way to walk inside, and I started to get close to him.
As we said earlier in this video, boxing prospects don't face too many live opponents in their first year as a pro, and this was again the case when West Dallas welterweight Cedric Rose took on Edward Rackley in 1983. 2-0 Rose represented the USA as an amateur boxer, while surprisingly Mississippi native Rackley had one win from 3 fights.
He's a very mild-mannered young man, Rose is, and here he is in his 3rd professional fight against Rackley, who's into just his 4th.
From the opening bell, Rackley gave it a good go as he bounced around the ring in an ungainly manner and threw wild punches. However, as it was clear that he had no real boxing skill and was in over his head against Rose, the referee quickly saved the Mississippi native from getting badly hurt.
Second pro fight in one of those knockouts against not a great opposition, as it doesn't look like Rackley.
Oh dear. Rackley walked into that and went down briefly, and will take the count of 8 from the referee, Dickie Cole.
Now, that Rose fight I alluded to was in Lake Charles, Louisiana, one of our favorite stops on the ESPN trip, and right now it looks to me like he's going to do away with Edward Rackley as quickly as he has his other opponents.
Rackley keeps on coming with those long arms. You talk about throwing a punch from Australia. He's throwing his from some other planet I don't know.
Edward Rackley is not the most stylish fighter we've ever seen here on ESPN. I think we can say that.
He's down again. That'll be the 2nd count, and that'll be enough for the referee, Dickie Cole. He has seen enough. Rackley is taken out by Cedric Rose, who ends it very, very early. And Cedric Rose, all the class certainly in the ring, looks to be on his way to a good pro career, but you couldn't tell by the opponent he had tonight.
Well, indeed, even in his 1st, 2nd, and 3rd pro fight, Cedric Rose faced better competition. With all that amateur experience, it's ludicrous for him to be facing these kind of fighters, really.
In 2020, journeyman Theophilus Tete stepped in to face super welterweight contender Anthony Fowler on just 2 days' notice. However, despite answering the late call, Tete turned up on fight night without a working pair of boxing boots.
Protect yourself at all times, touch gloves.
From the first bell, the apparent lack of grip from Tete's footwear made him skate around the ring like a novice on ice as Fowler probed at him with left jabs.
Back in 2015, he was stopped by Ryder in the mid-rounds at that point, and he looks very, very unsteady on his legs early on here, despite the fact that he hasn't really taken anything.
I don't think he's been hurt with a shot and that his legs are gone. I think he's actually struggling to grip the canvas with his boots.
As the fight moved into its 2nd minute, any decent punch landed by Fowler resulted in Tete touching or falling to the canvas due to his lack of balance and grip.
It was a nice crisp shot there from Fowler, but as he came forward and it connected, there was really nothing that Tete could do. And look at him there, his feet are almost going from underneath him. He needs to try and get through to the end of the round here.
Maybe they can send one of his team back to the changing rooms to get a pair of trainers or something, because those boots, you know, he's just slipping. He cannot grip the canvas.
Bottom of them and rough them up, and down he goes again there.
The 2nd and 3rd time Tete hit the deck, the reason he was struggling to stay upright was perhaps revealed when the soles of his boots were shown to have strips of duct tape on them.
The soles are actually, there's already tape on the soles. I've just noticed when he went down, there was already tape on the soles of the boots. But
well, it's bizarre stuff to watch. Fowler has just got to try and stay disciplined, catches him with a right hand there, and down he goes again. And this is getting comical, to be honest. It's a bit of a farce, to be absolutely blunt.
After Tete went down for the 4th time in total, the referee decided that enough was enough and waved off the contest.
Bob Williams Wipes off the gloves and down he goes again there. No knockdown that time. That was purely a loss of balance. The right hand didn't connect, but the round is finished and he's sent back to his stool, and the referee has waved his arms and the fight is over. As a spectacle, it was farcical, as I said, it really was. No blame can be attached to Fowler, obviously, but the boots are just not fit for purpose. Are they even his boots? I'm beginning to wonder.
In 2021, John Rio Casimero and Guillermo Rigandau set a new CompuBox record by not hitting each other.
12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Bantamweight Championship of the World.
In their WBO Bantamweight title fight in Carson, California, Casimero and Rigandau combined to land just 91 punches over 12 rounds. To put that into perspective, Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti combined to land 110 punches in just the 9th round of their classic first meeting. After ironically barely touching each other's gloves at the end of the referee's final instructions, the fight actually got off to an eventful start, as on the 2-minute mark of the first round, the belt holder, Casimero, caught Rigandau on the back of the head with a left hook and followed up with multiple right hands that appeared to make the Cuban challenger touch the canvas. However, the referee rightfully ruled the whole sequence to be both illegal and a slip, and warned Casimero for continuing to hit Rigandau while he was down.
Casimero just belted Rigandau with another left hand as we go to round 2.
From the second round, the contest went downhill rapidly, as Rigandau decided to get on his bicycle and threw and landed hardly any counter punches, while Casimero ineffectively pressured him and also mostly hit thin air when he committed to an attack.
Well, this is the old Rigandau, the one that we saw in the old days, and this crowd. Oh, you don't mean the 40-year-old? No, I mean in the old days. And here's what Casimero is not doing at all. He is not cutting off the ring at all against Rigandau. He's following him around the ring. And this is a round in which Rigandau has only thrown 13 punches.
And the timekeeper just hit the bell more times than Rigandau's hit Casimero.
After the bell at the midway point of the fight, Rigandau perfectly summed up his lack of aggression with a half-hearted jab to the side of Casimero's head. From there, the low-contact cat-and-mouse action continued, and if anything, actually got worse in its second half.
That's a good point, but then again, Casimero, he will pressure here and there. I've been criticizing Rigo for just using the entire ring and not throwing punches, but I got to criticize Casimero too, because he hasn't let his hands go. When he does, like he just pointed out now, he is good, he's effective, so he needs to throw more punches.
I feel like I'm going back to my radio DJ days. All I got to do is time and temperature. Bell, round temp. One thing's for sure, Rigandau's well on his way to getting his 10,000 steps in for this championship match.
You are correct, sir.
You don't normally hear boos here in Carson, California. I don't hear anyone yelling defense like you do at football games after.
True. Or basketball.
Good luck to the 3 judges seated at ringside. It will be up to them to determine who leaves Dignity Health Sports Park a 118 champion.
Although neither fighter had much of a case for winning, the judges' scorecards were split but ended up favoring Casimero, presumably because he was the aggressor in the fight.
And still champion, John Riel Cuadro Alas Casimero.
Thanks for watching. For whatever reason, what's a fight that you thought was bad and should be considered for this series? Let us know in the comments.
I just couldn't even begin to guess which way the verdict's going to go. To be quite honest, I don't really care as long as they don't order a rematch.
Plant brought everyone ringside and beyond to their feet in the 9th round when he buried Durrell with both a savage left hook and a post-fight celebration.
Agreed.